meeting to order. Let's leave the flag, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before we get started this evening, we need to take a brief executive session. I'd like to have a motion to go to executive session and discuss contract negotiations.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Coastal Lake. Coastal Lake.
That was government time.
All right. Let's take a motion to come out of executive session.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
You get that, Chris?
Fortunately, we don't have the minutes.
We don't have the prior board minutes? All right, so that's fine. We're gonna, just in case everybody's wondering why Tracy's sitting up here tonight, our clerk, Mary Helen, has been ill, and she's not gonna be here tonight, so she's filling in as deputy. So we do not have the prior board meeting minutes to approve, which we'll just approve next month when we have our next regular meeting. So we'll move on past the minutes. Now to the town clerk report.
Town clerk's report. Account 2110, zoning board, zoning ordinance, $25. Account 2115, planning board, boundary line change, $100, subdivision, $250. Account 2544, dog licenses, $17.50. Account 1255, town clerk fees, decals, $1.38. Total checks for general fund, $393.88. Trust and agency, escrow, W. Werner, $500. Escrow J. Laddick, $500. Escrow B. Torre, $500. Total check for trust and agency, $1,500. Paid to New York State Ag and Markets, dog surcharges, $7. Paid to New York State DEC, $23.62. Total for August 2017, $1,924.50.
Thank you very much. Motion to approve the clerk's report.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Mail review. I didn't see anything new that came in for the review of the mail. I do just want to point out, it's probably going to be a little late for anybody that's not here tonight. The Clermont Firehouse has their semi-annual barbecue, steak barbecue at Station 2 on 9G coming up this Saturday. So I'm just going to announce that if anybody can make it, they certainly can use the support. So it was a great meal, a good time. Move on to correspondence to the web committee. Do you have any recommendations, complaints to the web committee? No. Okay. Easy enough. Move on to committee reports. Bob?
Yeah, just a couple things. The mower that we surplused last month did get sold at auction, and Jimmy had expected to get $2,000. He actually ended up getting $2,550. So that was good.
That's excellent.
The other thing I'd like to just talk about a little bit is Scenic Hudson did finally contact us and came up and walked the property with us, looking at the area where we want to put in walking trails and things, some development in the back areas. And they're supposed to come up with some kind of a plan for us. What we're looking at doing, and this is a long term, it may be a number of years before we get all done. We'd like to do it what I characterize as an interpretive nature trail. You know, it'd be walking trails, but we'd have trees and different kinds of trees along the trail and have them marked so people can see what, the difference between different kinds of trees and plants. And we'd also like to put in an area to promote monarch butterflies and honeybees, pollinators, you know, butterfly, there's been quite a bit in the paper recently on a couple of different towns have been doing some of that. We've got plenty of room out there in the back section would be, ball field areas, you know, the area that's remediated in the front would still be ball field and playground areas with the walking trails in the back. Also, along with the walking trails, we talked about putting a veterans monument up in the hill and back of the cemetery. And with St. Hudson, we did look at the trail going up from the parking area, but we also looked at maybe one coming in from the other side. It would be a lower slope that would be ADA compatible. And so my thought is probably we'll go, you know, up one side and down the other. And I'd like to, you know, as a veterans monument, maybe try to put some poppies in along the one side, which the American Legion and VFW use every year, which is something that represents veterans from World War I. And, you know, some other plantings around the Veterans Monument. The VFW and the American Legion do come here every year on Veterans Day to do a little ceremony, and we've been doing it out at the front of the cemetery. We would then, if we get the monument, we would do it up there, and probably have a bench there too if people want to walk up and sit for a little while. But again, this is long term. It's going to be done piece at a time, over time. We did look at having a trail that would go out through the edge of the field area and go across the culvert that was put in when they were doing the remediation, but also one going over around the other way by the Little League field and then coming in and joining up, so there'd be multiple different areas eventually that you could walk the long trail or the short trail. And that's what our thinking is at this point. And Ray, you look like you got some questions about that.
That little wooded area, immediately behind, who owns that?
The town owns it.
If that were clean, right now it's poison ivy, briars, there's a lot of nice standing trees. If that were clean, where you could put a table, chair, picnic, where people could be. Right now, and it'd be easy to do, it's a small area.
Which wooded area are you talking about?
Immediately behind, right off the corner of the grapes.
That's where, next to where the
Oh,
veterans monument.
You mean the hill behind the cemetery?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's town property. That's where we're talking about putting the Veterans Monument.
I mean, right now, that hill, that rocky area is just overgrown jungle, but with very nice standing trees.
Yeah.
And if the briars were cut out, the poison ivy was taken out, you could navigate it on foot.
They've been mowing quite a bit of that recently. If you get over
It's a
there.
jungle in the middle of it,
Yeah,
but it would be easily renovated.
yeah.
And it's a nice area for a picnic table, or it's shade.
Hopefully next month we'll have some kind of preliminary maps back from St. Hudson,
Yeah.
which will show we're going to be walking around that area and up to the monument there. It may be close to that, where we may try to incorporate some seating and stuff and some
But that's
tables.
your only shade for the whole,
Correct.
but it's beautiful. I mean, you've got big whole.
There's some nice trees there in the area.
Nice stand of trees, it's just a lot of undergrowth. It could easily be cleaned up.
That sounds like a volunteer, doesn't it?
Well, you need something to get in there, some sort of equipment to clean that out.
Yeah.
But we put tables and chairs in there, it's really shade.
We will be looking at that when we get the preliminary mapping back to see and try to fit everything together, and we'll be actually working on that.
Nice little knoll, nice little spot there.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay.
It's
good.
You got the other stuff on the new business. So.
Okay. Evan didn't make it this evening. Chris, you got some information for us.
Yes, I do. I did a little research for the assets, the equipment that our new code enforcement officer is asking for.
Yeah.
Laptop, software for doing his accounting, keeping track of his fees and such, as well as an office product such as Microsoft Office for his Microsoft Word, writing letters, Excel and such. So the breakdown I have, the laptop I know we've approved for $500 a couple of times in the past, and I'm finding it more difficult to find a laptop for 500 that's actually reliable. The last one that we actually got for about 500, I got for Cheryl. She had a problem within 2 weeks. It was a Dell, and Dell refused to warranty it.
Great.
So I don't want to go back to that same scenario again.
Okay.
So I am looking at something closer to 700 for a laptop.
Okay.
The accounting software, I'm looking at Quicken, which is $45, and Sam had mentioned that as well. So I think that's a very reasonable purchase as well.
Okay.
Microsoft Office, for the home and student version, that's it's on. I found it on sale for $119, but the sale ends today. I don't know if I'll be able to catch that or not. But without the sale, I believe it's about $139,
Let's
about
go with that
$140.
number for now, 139.
Yep.
Okay.
And printers are very cheap. We could look into the one that we have here, but for the cost, it's fairly minimal. So that's about $70 for a color printer, and that is a multi-operation with the scan, print, copy, etc. for $70.
Okay.
So in total, that comes to about 1132 is what the number I came up with.
Okay.
And I'd like to move forward with that and have a motion to spend that.
Now, we were talking at one time about a different software for Mary too, is that included in there?
Yes, I'm sorry. So the Microsoft Office, that is two
Okay.
licenses, 2 copies.
Okay.
So yeah, thank you, Bob. So that total of 1132 does include a Office suite for Mary,
Okay,
for the town clerk.
good.
Okay, well, I know, and I've asked Chris to take this on with the new building inspector. He's come on board, he's really hit the ground running. He seems like he's really going to help us out on a lot of issues. He'd like to computerize everything, which we haven't done. So this is why he's asking for a laptop, a printer, and software to go with it. So I certainly want to support him. I think he's going to be an asset to the town. And I don't have a problem with these expenses, even though they weren't budgeted for this year. It is a minor amount. I'd like to take it out of the contingency fund is what I was looking at. Probably the easiest thing, just take it out of there because it's unexpected this year. But I really do support him, and I'd like to, get him what he needs to get going on this. I don't have a problem with these costs. If we want to approve up to, $1,300 and make sure something changes, you don't have to come back to the board for approval. I don't have a problem with that either, but I do want to go ahead and get this ordered as soon as we can to get him up and rolling. So
I'm in favor as well.
and I
Yeah,
appreciate
agree.
everything you've done on this. I know you went back and forth with him quite a few times, figuring out what he needed, and
Yeah.
you've been working on the research. So I really appreciate your help on this.
So how much did you want to approve up to?
Up to like 1,300.
15?
Make sure
Okay.
just in case something changes a little bit.
Because you've got...
We have 1,500 available.
1,500, okay.
So
Yeah, that's fine.
1,300 should be
just to
fine.
give you a little bit of room.
Yeah, and I'm going to be looking to spend less than that, but, back to school specials, some of them are still out there, and some of them are now gone, so I'm going to look at that and see if we have any saving opportunities.
I know I recently had to purchase a computer for someone at work, and it wasn't somebody who's going to be a heavy user at all, and our consultant that we use, he ended up spending $500 or $600.
Yeah.
And he said, you can't get the $300 ones aren't out there. It's, they're all so souped up and everything now that that's where you're running is in that
Right,
ballpark.
right.
So
And like
I'm sure
I
you're going to find the same thing with the laptop.
Yeah, and I thought the laptop we got for Cheryl was a very good one, but unfortunately Dell refused to warranty it, and I don't understand that at all. But I don't want to make that same mistake again. I mean, it's foolish a 2-week-old laptop and they wouldn't warranty it. So
I would move to approve up to $1,300 out of the contingency budget for computer and software.
I'll second.
Second, and that'll be a 1990.4, if you want to write down the 1990.4 contingency. So we have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Perfect, thank you. So you'll take care of that, ordering that up
Yep.
as soon as you can. All right, excellent. Okay, Dawn.
I don't have much this month. I just wanted to say that I did go to both the planning and zoning boards, and I went back to the planning board to get comments about the unified solar permit. And the planning board was really not in favor of moving forward with that adoption. And the zoning board did not meet in August, but I will go back to their September meeting and see if they have any comments. So if we don't move forward with that, we are not going to be able to move forward with becoming a clean energy community. There's 4 initiatives that we would need to complete out of a total of 10. The 4 that we've kind of looked at are really the only 4 that a community our size would be able to accomplish. So if we don't do that, we won't be able to move forward with becoming a clean energy community.
Okay, any indication why they didn't feel comfortable moving forward?
Not more,
Didn't benefit the
didn't
town,
really
or-
want to do, they thought there was a lot of information on there that really wasn't needed, and didn't really want to add another piece of paper, although I do believe we can work together and have all the information in one form. So I'll see if the zoning board, what their feelings are, and, we'll see what happens. Okay. I am working on the Pomeroy Foundation grant for replacement of the 2 historic markers out in front of the academy. The one to say that it's the first public school in New York State is a little bit of a challenge. I don't know if I haven't been able to find anything to date to prove that. What's happened is, even though it's a replacement, because a lot of those markers have incorrect information on them, they are making us go back and find source documents. So but if I'm not able to do it this year, the cycle for our region will come up again about this time next year, so it's not all lost. And the other thing I wanted to remind everyone is that we are having an election day dinner next door in the academy. The Village Green is going to put that on again this year. We're going back to the ham dinner. Off the top of my head, I don't recall what the pricing is, and our next meeting is Sunday, September 17th at Towsey Winery, and I believe it's at 5:30. The other question I wanted to bring back to this committee, we had talked about it a little bit last month, is that Towsey Winery had agreed to sell wine at the dinner if the town would undertake the $36 for the permit for the beer wine that day, and authorize that. So I wanted to bring that back to this committee and see how the group feels about doing that.
Okay, yeah, I mean, let's certainly have a discussion on that, because after, we brought that up originally, I thought a little bit more about it. I think we had a couple conversations about this. I don't know if I feel comfortable, serving alcohol at election day dinner. I don't know if that's the place to do it. I don't know. I'd be glad to have some other thoughts on this.
Yeah, no,
Any other dinner, it'd be great, but
Get drunk, go for me. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I don't think that there would really be any problem, but it's the appearance of impropriety to do that, I think, on election day.
So,
Especially right next door. And
yeah, I kind of agree.
people probably vote before they go to the dinner,
Right.
but on the other hand, it's more of the appearance than the actual problem.
Right. I think I also agree. So at this point, I would say I'm not really in favor of it. And it sounds like it's kind of
yeah, at the last meeting, it was brought up by someone in the audience as well, so.
okay.
Okay, I will bring that back to the committee.
All right.
All right, so that's it, all I have for this month.
On
Okay.
on
Thank you.
the solar thing, so it was, what I heard from the planning board is more that it's a little bit of extra work, another piece of paper for the applicants, and there's no real benefit to the applicant.
Okay.
So, and no real benefit to the, for the process.
Well, as we all know, a lot of times that's what it ends up being, more of a paper trail and headache. But, that's why we ask the boards to look at it and get their opinions on it. So, I mean, I certainly respect their opinion, and, I'll be interested to see if the zoning board has a different opinion, but we'll certainly take it into consideration.
Mary, you were there, do you have anything to add?
My comment was more along the lines of out of the full page of information that's requested, how much of it is needed for, first of all, the planning board to do their job, and secondly, the state is asking for this. Does the state intend to collect this information? And
At
I
this
think
point,
we came
no.
up with, not at this time. So we would be collecting information that was gonna sit in a drawer anyway.
The
So-
planning board did ask our engineer to look at the proposal and write a letter, but I think he kind of got, fell through the cracks. I don't know if he's done it for the next meeting that you're having.
But for the planning board to do their job, we're getting the information that we need already. And
It's not gonna simplify anything, what you're saying.
it's not making it any easier. Certainly, if there are elements that the state says we really want to be collecting this, no problem, add it into our forms. But to collect it for the sake of collecting it, how much of a benefit is it going to be for people to do this work and us become a clean energy community? Basically, how much is it either going to cost or how much are you going to get?
Right.
What's in it for the town?
Right.
Well, longer term, if we become a clean energy community, we can be eligible for grants in the $50,000 to $80,000 range. That would be towards pretty much what we would want to do regarding the, energy uses and needs for our municipal buildings. So, right now, we don't have anything in, kind of in the pipeline for that. So it's that makes it a little bit more difficult too to have a goal to aim towards.
Well, let's take in consideration when the zoning board takes a look at it, and let's see what they say,
Okay.
and, maybe we can have a conversation with the board, just come up with, an answer, after we speak with them. All right, good, thank you, Dawn.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to, old business, just some updates, DEC, sent another message this morning to, Michael Mason, which is the head of the DEC project for us, about when we're going to get this finished up. We're still waiting to hear back on the blacktopping to fix the driveway. The ditch around the edge that needs to be filled in with some dirt. And most importantly, what I keep asking him for, and asked numerous times, is a breakdown of the pricing of the project on what all the costs and credits were throughout the whole entire project. I have not seen one single dime of ledgers or accountability for this project. And they're asking for us to pay our 10%, and I don't feel comfortable doing that unless I see a breakdown of what we spent the money on, what they spent the money on. So as of yet, and again, his answer today was, I'm working on the numbers. I do not have those numbers yet, so we are not considering on paying the bill, obviously, because we're still, for one, waiting for the numbers and waiting for the blacktop to be finished up. So I don't really have an update other than that. I'm still working and in contact with them probably once a week, and I'm getting nowhere. So I'll let everybody know when I do get an answer back that I can relay to everybody.
But I don't understand why he doesn't have those numbers. I'm sure you don't either, because the contractor told you there were some things that they disallowed.
Mm-hmm.
So if they can disallow things, then they must know what they didn't disallow.
Correct. They should have I'm sure they have a computerized printout of every number that went in and out and credits and extras, and it should be just a click to send to me, and I still have not received it,
They know
so.
what they paid and what they disallowed, and
Absolutely. So for some reason, it's not here yet.
So what they still owe is the blacktop as well as the filling in the ditch.
The contractor is responsible for the ditch, and I've been in contact with him as well. He is sending someone down to come down and fill that in.
Okay.
That's a minor issue, half a day with a piece of equipment to the borrow to fill it in. That's really the only thing left on his obligation list. But the
Okay.
blacktop is something the DEC has to approve, because we have to cap that to get that rotor to run off instead of sit there.
Right.
And he
Okay.
said that he's still looking at the numbers and getting other quotes. So, again, he's had these for over a month, the numbers I sent him, and, I've requested the project numbers for, 3 months.
So is Malloy's getting paid?
Malloy is still being held up on some of his money because he hasn't completed
Right.
what he has to either, and they have a retainer. So,
Right,
but they
right.
do want to supposedly finish this project, but they don't look like they're working too hard to accomplish it. So.
Because I'm sure if Malloy's getting paid, they're doing those, I can't recall exactly what the form is, but I know a lot of times when you have a construction project like this, there's like a progress billing, and it gets certified by someone at Malloy, and then before it gets sent to the state, so they know by the different line items, what that 95% of the work is done, this much should be paid, this much is being held in retainage.
There's a whole entire report that's very simple that should be provided, and it's not. And I don't
Well,
want to speculate why, I just am not happy
but
about it.
it's
so.
there.
You have to file the Freedom of Information.
Well, we shouldn't have to. Well, they're not going to pay for it until we get it, so they're going to want to get it to us at some point. So if we, for some reason, don't pay our bill before next year, everybody will know why, but we're not paying it until we get those numbers, so. Okay, Scenic Hudson, Bob pretty much touched on that, covered that. We did meet with them. We are waiting for them to get back to us with the preliminary mapping. They did come meet with us, walk around the entire project. They actually mapped it with their phone. They are going to provide a sketch map, a preliminary map, with some ideas of screening, different avenues of mapping or trails. We showed them basically what we were thinking about, where we wanted a monument. It looks, they seem to be very helpful. I think they are going to, they said they won't be able to, engineer the whole entire project, but they're certainly going to get us started, give us some preliminary stuff, and see what they can do to help us out. So we're just waiting for that. They did tell us 2 to 3 weeks. They were kind of busy, and that was about 3 weeks ago. So I'm assuming, maybe this week. If not, I'll probably give them a little call, a reminder call at the end of the week. And I don't want to push them too hard because they're doing this for nothing to help us out. But I will try to touch base with them by the end of the week and see if we can get some information when it might be coming. So, but they, again, they seem very helpful, and I was glad to have them come up and meet with us. And we did discuss the screening as well. They're going to give us some ideas about screening for surrounding properties that we talked about. So it'll be interesting to see what they come back with that as well. Building inspector, code enforcement officer, again, just an update. The new building inspector took over mid-August, Sam Harkins. Seems like, he's really enthusiastic about getting going with this. He's really seems to be very involved with trying to get everything squared away. He wants to computerize everything, making things easier to track. I think it's going to work out real well with him. He overlapped with John Fieser, our old inspector, for a couple of weeks so they could get comfortable, finding out where all the files were, find out the process that John was doing. And I think it's going to, like we had said, I think it's going to work out real well for us. So, and on the same note, I'm going to say it again probably later, I just want to thank John Fieser for over 20 years of serving us as the building inspector and code enforcement officer. We certainly appreciate everything he did for us. And we actually did some cake and cookies for him that night. So, it was real nice. I appreciate everything he's done for the town to help us out over the years. So, but moving forward, I think we're on a positive note, and I think, as long as we can get some of that stuff, it'll help simplify everything for us and him for accounting records as well. So, I'm glad to have him on board and look forward to moving forward with him. New business, we already covered that. The laptop and the other information that we needed to purchase, we approved that already. Move on from that. Surplus mower equipment, that's something we're going to strike from the list. We're not doing anything with that tonight. I want to move on to the highway truck. So Highway Superintendent Jim Potts brought it to our attention. He wanted to, I think next year was planning on purchasing a new pickup for the highway department. And what he found is the trade-in value, right now, for the end of the year before the plow season hits, is obviously the best time and the highest time to get the best return on your vehicle. So what he did is I asked him to go out and get some quotes on vehicles. He'd like to approve ordering a new truck now. It takes a couple months to order it and have it come in by November so he can have it for the season coming up. And at that point, sell our old truck. I say old, it's 2011, which is in fairly good shape with a plow. He thinks, at the minimum, he's probably going to get about $15,000 trade-in value on that. Probably be a little higher, but he's trying to lowball it. The new truck that he's looking to purchase, all said and done with a brand new plow, 3/4 ton pickup with a double cab, which is what he wants to have more space to carry stuff, $34,860. This is a municipal bid account price, which makes a tremendous amount of discount, takes a tremendous amount of discount off of the purchase price of a vehicle. So this makes it much more feasible for towns and municipalities to buy vehicles because we get it at such a discount. So when we take and trade in the old one or sell the old one, we get a pretty good value because we sell it at market value and we're buying it at a discounted value when it's brand new. It actually makes sense to cycle the vehicles a little more frequently, maybe a 3, 4, 5 year cycle, because we buy at such a low price and we can sell it at such a high price at the value. I think it's something we really should consider going forward 3, 4, 5 years from now to maybe try and sell and recycle our vehicles a little bit quicker. I know other towns, I've spoken to other supervisors, and they have also decided to try to do this as well, because what you end up doing is getting a vehicle for maybe a couple $1,000s a year costs because you're buying it so low and you're selling it so high. You know, the difference in cost is, you know, it actually doesn't cost you much to run a new vehicle for 3 or 4 years. So, but anyway, back to purchasing this. What Jimmy did is he provided me with 4 quotes, excuse me. But I really, looking at our procurement policy, just to double check, we have 4 quotes on 4 different vehicles, but they're only from 2 different manufacturers, or 2 different companies. So Romeo in Kingston and Mangino, which is in Amsterdam, I believe. But what I really would like him to do is get a 3rd company to quote this, because really there's only 2.
Third vendor.
3rd vendor. There's only 2 with 4 different bids, but there's only 2 different vendors. So I really want a 3rd vendor to bid this because, you know, our procurement policy says 3 vendors, you know, so I don't want to take a chance that we only got 2 different ones that quote 2 different vehicles. That's really only 2 prices from 2 vendors. So I really would like to have 1 extra 3rd vendor to price this. But what I'd like to do in the meantime is approve this tonight pending verification of a 3rd bid not being less than this amount, that he can go ahead and, you know, he can get the price for me tomorrow, the next day get back to me, and if he can't come up with a cheaper price, he can go ahead and order this. So that's what I'd like to do. We do have money left over in his account, excuse me, when we sell the truck that he has for $15,000, he has about $11,800 left over from the tractor purchase that we budgeted this year that he didn't spend. We budgeted $25,000, only spent $13,000, so he's got about $11,800 left. And he also has $10,000 extra money coming from FEMA, which doesn't necessarily have to go to the truck, but it's extra money that we didn't budget revenue coming in. And he also sold that brush hog for $2,550. So he has more than enough to cover the price of the new vehicle. So at the end of the year, what I'd like to do, we'll see where we end up. Obviously, that's what we can use to pay for the truck. But we also have budgeted, as of right now, $35,000 to transfer to his capital equipment reserve account. So for purchasing the vehicle, I'd like to approve it out of the capital equipment fund. And then when this money is left over at the end of the year, we'll transfer it back into the equipment fund. But we do have the line item already set up, transfer to capital reserve, $35,000, which will cover the price of this vehicle. So for moving forward, I'd like to present to the board to purchase the 2018 2500 Sierra GMC for $34,860 from Romeo, pending that he does not come back with a cheaper price for the 3rd vendor. And it would come out of transfer to capital reserve line 9950.9.
You're actually looking at pending, we can still do best value, even if it comes in a little lower, but this, because of the location of the dealer and the, you know, the GMC versus Chevy, what he wants the GMC,
Right.
you can consider that as part of the best value.
Just to point out, to Bob's point, the dealer in Amsterdam was $60 cheaper than Kingston. So we passed a best value resolution a while back, stating that, you know, obviously we can consider the best value to me if you have to go to Amsterdam to pick up a vehicle, or if you have a problem. You can have warranty work done anywhere, but if you have a problem with the plow, you're not going to drive to Amsterdam to have it fixed. That $60 will be gone in a heartbeat. So
Right.
to me, the best value is the local dealer for $60 more. So that's why I'm presenting the $60 extra. $34,860 would be the total price for the local dealer. So as long as he doesn't come back with a better deal, best value deal, then I would say we can approve this. I would like to present that we approve it.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carry.
And one other thing I wouldn't point out, that won't affect the vote, but Jimmy did have somebody come down, one of those dealers come down and look at the truck and told him basically the value. And he's also been watching sales on the online auction that he will put that one on. And they've been running actually higher than what he's expecting. So he may well get more than 15,000.
Yeah, he's done a little bit of research on this. He's not just picking a number out of his hat. And it is a 2011 with 75,000 miles on it. It's it's fairly good. It's in good shape, and it's fairly desirable for people in the plow business. So that's why I said it probably will get better than 15,000 for it. So which will help offset the cost. Absolutely. Okay. Budget workshop. I want to set up a date or two for our budget workshop. As we all know, it's budget season. I have to present a tentative budget to the clerk by the end of the month. What I'd like to do is pick a couple dates, or at least one date, pick two dates, just in case we don't finish one night, towards the end of the month. And it's going to have to be the last week of September, preferably Monday the 25th or Wednesday the 27th, or schedule both and see, if we can finish up on Monday, we wouldn't have to have the following meeting. It really, unless something really extraordinary happens, we should be able to get through most of it Monday night, depending on how late you guys want to work.
I think a Monday would work best for me,
Monday,
the 25th.
Monday the 25th?
Yeah.
Okay, so
The 27th is actually, that's planning board meeting also.
zoning board? Zoning board.
Zoning board, I'm sorry, yeah, zoning
Okay.
board.
Well, if we have to finish up, we might be, we can always do it in the other room if we have to. It shouldn't be much. Okay, so we'll set our public workshop meeting for budget workshop for September 25th. You guys, what time is convenient for everybody? Chris, I know you got the longest ride.
That's
You
why
wanna do seven?
Mondays work best.
You want to do 7?
I'll be home,
Okay.
so I can start early on a
You
Monday,
guys want to start earlier? 7's good? 7? 7. Let's do a 7.
or earlier.
Earlier.
We could do 6:30. I mean,
6:30 will work for me.
Bob, can you make it? He's not saying anything. You can show up a little late.
I'm just writing it in. I had.
All right, let's set it for 6:30, that way we can try to get it done one night. So
We
we'll
stay
set
to 11 o'clock.
9:25, Monday night, 6:30. And I'd also like to at least, we have to advertise this, advertise also 9/27, which is Wednesday.
You want it on Wednesday also?
Yes, if needed. We'll have to advertise so it's a notified meeting. And we'll do the same thing at 6:30.
Okay.
So it has to be advertised.
Yes, we have to put that in the public meeting. 10 days in advance. We'll get it in. Okay, public hearing. I just want to present for approval to move for a public hearing on next month for that veterans exemption we talked about last month. The local law, I gave everybody a copy of it. You should have a copy with your paperwork. Basically what it does is it increases the limits on the veterans exemptions to follow the county level. The county has just recently increased their exemption levels, and they encourage every town to do the same. So what they gave me a little bit of a reference to, so we could see the actual cost to the taxpayers if we were to adopt this. And just to let everybody know, on a parcel that's assessed at $200,000, you would see an estimated increase of 34 cents in your town tax for the year. So obviously it's not something that's going to affect many people at all on that level. And the estimated increase on your county taxes would be $2.20 for the year. So a total increase for town and county of $2.54 if we adopt this. Average $200,000 household would see a $2.54 increase. I don't see that as something that's going to really affect too many people, other than the veterans that we're passing it for. I think it will be a great asset for them to have a little extra exemption. So I'm certainly in favor of it, and that's why I presented to everybody a copy of it. And what it does is increases the exemption levels for wartime to $36,000, for combat zone 24,000, disability 50% of veterans disability rating not to exceed 120,000.
And that wartime combat So that 24 must be in addition to the 36? Sometimes you get more than just war time.
Yeah, yes, it'd be an additional 24,000, yeah, equals 60,000, yeah. So with that being said, if anybody has any comments or suggestions, or if not, discussion, I'd like to set a public hearing for next month at our board meeting for October 2nd at 6:45. Need a motion on that?
So moved.
Second.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
What time did you say, Ray?
6:45.
6:45.
Yeah, it was right before. our
October
meeting.
2nd.
Yeah, that's our next board meeting, October 2nd. Okay. Supervisor report, just to go over a couple things. I don't really have a lot to report on. I just wanted to point out again the Fireman's Barbecue, for the September 9th, this coming Saturday. If we can, if you can get down and support the firemen, it's always a good meal. The election day dinner, I think Dawn already commented on, that'll be coming up in November. Again, thank you to John Feeser for the 20 years of service. We certainly appreciate that. He's done a great job for us over the years, and certainly helped us out. And I want to thank Tracy and Lee for stepping up and helping out while Mary's been out of commission. We certainly appreciate their help as well, and I'm glad she's coming along. I just want to comment a little bit on Mary. She's been ill, and she's recovering, and we're looking forward to getting her back. But it's been kind of tough. It's like having a car without a motor. We're running on fumes here. You got a driver, but you don't have an engine to run it. So it's a little difficult, but we're managing. So we just ask that be a little patient if you need something. If you come in and we don't have it ready immediately, but we will certainly do the best we can to get everything put together and hold it together while she's recovering. So other than that, that's about all I have for this report. If anybody has any issues.
I'd like to mention also that the dedication that Mary puts in, I mean, she's been out ill, I went to visit her, and she's working on vouchers. Seriously.
Yeah, absolutely.
So and I know Lee and Tracy have been helping carry stuff back and forth and doing a great job as well, but Mary's dedicated, and we appreciate that.
Absolutely. And I just want to mention if anybody has any issues with the town or county, certainly if you'd like to bring up to me, I'd certainly look into it. If I can answer it, I will. If not, I'll get you an answer. But anything that comes up that anybody would like to discuss, I'll certainly help them out. Other than that, we'll move on to motion to pay abstracts.
I'll make a motion that we pay the general fund. Abstract 9A. Vouchers 237 through 256 in the amount of $7,030.58.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
So I'll make a motion to pay the prepaid general fund vouchers. This is abstract number 9, vouchers number 234 through 236. They're all to National Grid in the amount of $201.46.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Move to pay highway abstract number 9, vouchers number 95 through 104 in the amount of $9,188.84.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, move on to public communications. Comments to the board. Do we have any public comments? Oh, that's never good when she's smiling. Okay, want to step up, please?
Certainly. I was speaking to my neighbors on Nevis Road over the weekend, and they asked me to pass along a request for 2 things: a reduction in the speed limit on Nevis Road and a stop sign at the intersection of Nevis and Lasher.
There, I said it.
Use latch.
That's a yield sign right
It's
now.
currently a yield sign.
And
Yes.
did they have any reason for wanting that? Have they seen it? in
There
problems?
are now 5 families with children under 12 within a quarter mile of that intersection, so they're really looking for a reduced speed. The stop sign would just be
County
great.
intersection, so that means we have to get the county
County.
traffic study done for the yield sign, which they also do a speed assessment as well. So I can request that they take a look at both of those issues. What is the current speed limit? Is that 45? Or is it posted?
It's not posted.
Then it's 55. So no wonder they wanted the reduction.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll put a request in for a speed assessment on the road and a sign. They'll have to look at the intersection because it does, it's obviously a county road. Okay.
Well, now it's nice and paved, I'm sure it makes for a little bit of a speedway.
I grew up with it as gravel for a good few years, so
All right. I will look into it, get some information, and find out how many years that'll take. But I will certainly get going on it, way because
You say that was a gravel road when you,
when we first moved here, it was gravel.
there are considerably more houses now, I suspect.
Right.
absolutely.
Yes.
And more in
With the
progress.
Grand Avenue, added a few, and then,
Four added just within a quarter mile of that intersection
Yeah.
within the past 2 years.
yeah, that was the Seymour subdivision.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. I see the one they're putting right on the end now. Yeah.
Yeah.
And another one's going in probably this coming spring.
Well,
Well, I know right on Lasher, a little bit before Nevis, there's one.
That's all part of the Seymour subdivision also.
okay.
I came around that corner the other day, and there was kind of a house in the middle of the road. Some guy standing there.
Any other comments, suggestions, complaints? No? We're doing good with that. All right. Well, if not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
So,
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you.